Hey, I'm here with Callie King, and she has an amazing story in her online business. So Callie, welcome. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
Super, super excited about this.
Me too.
Yeah, you just got just a cool story. So can you just tell everyone a little bit about your business?
Sure. So I teach horse riding and training, and I do it in person. I have a farm in Pennsylvania. And about 6 years ago, I started taking that business online and teaching courses for teaching people how to ride and how to train their horses.
And so this was so you had an offline business, bringing people in, giving them one-on-one lessons,
Yeah.
group lessons maybe.
Yeah, I would do both. So I would have people come in and either bring in their own horse, ride one of my horses, or I would have, a lot of the business was actually horses that would come to me for training, and then they would leave again after 30 to 60 days.
And I know there's, like everything, it's more complicated. I don't know anything about horses, but everything's more complicated than you think, right? So there's different styles of riding and lots of different kinds of horses.
Absolutely.
Do you have any specialties or things?
I do. So I specialize in working with behavior problems. And what's a little bit different about how I train than a lot of other methods in the industry is I really take a science-based, evidence-based approach to training. So when I teach people how to train, instead of just teaching them a methodology, I teach them more like the science and the psychology of behavior, how animals learn, how we can better communicate with them. And that's really what makes me different than a lot of other trainers.
And so some period ago, you had this thought, it's like, wow, what if I could create an online business or maybe a part of this be online or something like that?
Yeah. It all started with one of my riding students. She came in for a lesson and she did a lot of sales, and she was starting to teach sales, and she had this idea. She's like, I read about this thing called blogging. You can make money, and I'm gonna blog about sales. You should blog about horses. So I was kind of like, oh, and I went home and started researching blogging, and that's what started it.
And then it was just like instant success and massive glory and sipping Mai Tais on the beach right from that moment on, right?
I wish. No, I tend to jump into things pretty wholeheartedly, which is both a strength and sometimes a weakness. So when I first went into doing this, I had started blogging and I was doing that consistently, but when I wanted to kind of create a way to make money off of this, to do my first course, I hired someone to create the website. That was about $4,000 just to build a simple website. And then I hired a video production company to come in and spend a day. It was around $6,000 just for the day. So I had a pretty big initial investment. And at that time, I mean, even my in-person business, while I was busy there, there wasn't a ton of cash flow. So I took a loan out to do that. And against everyone that I talked to thought it was a crazy idea, and I didn't have the marketing skills to do it. So that floundered for about 2 years of just trying random things, and I could not get these little videos that I had made to sell. I sold one to my mom and a second that my mom bought for my uncle because he'd just gotten a horse.
And then what happened from there?
Well, the big turning point was I got PLF. I got that in 2013. In about a month of buying it, I did the seed launch. And when I did...
Callie, I don't want to slag on other trainings, but it sounded like you went through a number of approaches and trainings and programs before Product Launch Formula.
I did. Yeah, I went through quite a few, and they were all good in the little pieces that they gave me, but it wasn't the right thing at the right time. And what I really appreciated about PLF is it was so step by step. It was something that I could follow, and I had this fledgling little product idea, and I could actually put it through the process and start to see things, gain traction.
And then, you said, I think that we were just talking off camera, that only about a month after you joined Product Launch Formula, then you did your first seed launch. Yep,
I did. So I offered that I had a super small list, and I had a number of students that were one-on-one. So I offered it to them, and I was selling it for $50, and I sold one spot. But then I comped in about 10 of my current in-person clients. So from their feedback, again, just following what you teach with the seed launch, it created the first version of the actual course.
When you said you had a really small list, approximately how big was it?
I think it was about 100 people.
Okay.
So I still, I
Yep.
was still a little disappointed with one sale, but
Right, right. So, I mean, for everyone listening along at home, you know this,
Yeah.
but obviously you've done it. So the seed launch is your first launch, and you can do it with a very small list, like 100 people. And one of the keys to a seed launch is that you're actually creating the product as you sell it, and then you create it as you deliver it.
Yes.
So only one sale, only $50, but then what did that lead to?
yeah, well, since I had 11 people, because I had the one sale and the 10 that I comped in, I did, like each week I would basically send them a survey, ask them what they wanted to learn, and I kind of had an outline in my head of what I wanted to teach, and I combined those two and created each module as we went. So then I took that, I made some tweaks, and when I offered the second edition, my list hadn't really grown. I had, I think, about the same 100, maybe we were up to 150 people at that point. But I had been able to go through the rest of PLF, so I learned a lot more about the marketing. And that one, I sold 10 spots at $147.
Okay, so you went from $50 in that first launch, and now it sounds like $1,500.
Yep.
Did I get that math right?
Yep.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you've come a long way since then. I mean, so fast forward, what happened going beyond that?
Yeah, well, I think for me, my path has been, when I really look back, it doesn't even feel slow. At the time, it's felt very slow, kind of a slow and steady approach of they just progressively would get larger and larger. So the biggest one to date, as far as just launch, was about 2 months ago on actually that same product that has had different evolutions, but we closed at over $175,000
Wow.
on that launch.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
That's some serious growth. So, and this is the same product, although sounds like you've redone it, remade it, but I mean,
Yes.
the same core that you learned. I mean, I like to think about it like in that seed launch, you're learning how to teach it. And you already knew all
Yeah.
this material, but learning how to teach it in an online format.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially something like riding, a lot of people are even surprised that that can be taught in an online format.
Right.
So going through that process to figure out how to do that effectively was important.
Wow. Wow. So, and you mentioned, I mean, there's so many amazing parts to your story. You at one point, because we're shooting video, and so Callie's looking around, looking at these cameras. It's fun to look at this and to figure out what we're doing, but
Yeah.
because you do a lot of filming in yours with your courses, and you're filming complicated, hard stuff, which is people riding horses,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so tell us about your the facility you built.
Yes, so, and this was not only building a facility for what we needed to do for videos, but honestly kind of fulfilling a dream of mine, because to create a center really where people could come and I could have other teachers come in, it was a dream. So built an indoor arena. It's about 84 by 200. So
Feet.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's
Yes.
big.
It's big.
Horses riding around.
Yep. We have a viewing area. It's beautifully done, like with the woodwork inside and nice bright lights, so we can do videos year round.
Do you have a name for that facility?
It's Honeybrook Stables.
Honeybrook Stables.
Yep.
Is it safe to say that PLF had a part in building
Huge.
Honeybrook?
Huge part, yeah. Because there's the way that in my area and the way that the horse business works, it's tough. It's a tough business to do boarding and training. And quite frankly, I never would have been able to support building that kind of a facility, doing business the way that I was before going online and finding PLF.
Yeah, it seems like the horse industry it's one of those, a lot of people want to do it, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people, there's a lot of competition. There has to be. Because
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of 13-year-old girls that would kill to have a living, to make a living with horses, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure boys as well too. But so it's
Yeah.
got to be very competitive.
It is. It's a dream job, and I'm thankful every day that I get to do what I do, because I love it.
That's very, very cool. And so that 150-person email list, what has happened to that?
That is today at over 23,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And do you, so this is one of the things, I think people when they're looking at PLF, and they're thinking, oh, that's, I'll do one launch or whatever and move on, or if I could just get launched, then everything's beautiful and bright and my life is perfect. But you've been just on this journey of getting better and better and better and growing and growing and growing. What have you learned in that journey? What are some of the challenges you faced, and how have you overcome them?
A good question. I would say for me, the biggest thing that I've learned was to just have the mindset of to just keep going. So when something wouldn't work or wouldn't work like I had expected it to take the lessons from that and keep moving forward. And that it kind of, for my path, it took those stepping stones to gain the momentum in terms of, numbers and pieces of the business, but also just the personal skills that it took to grow that. And that was a big part for me, is just even my own personal growth has been a big part of this journey.
And now you've got a team. You've built a team.
Yeah.
How many people did you approximately? I know you have some part-time and some full-time.
Yeah, we've got about six that are very active in the business.
Yeah, and it's partially virtual. You have at least one person, you said, in Australia.
Yes.
What has that been like, learning to build to run a company?
It's been huge. I love it. It's been some of the biggest challenges of the business. That's a big part of that personal growth that I mentioned. But having other people that start to kind of share your dream and excitement for what you're doing, and other people that get what you're doing to bounce ideas off of, and also the concept that you can build something bigger than yourself it's really exciting.
One of the things I admire just in watching you and your journey, because we've known each other for, I'm not sure how many years, probably 4 years or 3 or 4 years. Yeah. Something like that. Yeah. Is just how you're never staying still. You're always learning. You're always pushing. You're always doing something. And that's been really, really amazing to watch. Really fun to watch.
Thank you.
So like, when was the, where you felt like, wow, I really got this? When you have $50 and then $1,500, like in terms of launches, did you have one that was sort of like, boom, this is going to be a business. I'm going someplace. I got this figured out. Even if I don't see the ultimate path, but I know that I'm on the right path.
I think for me it was actually that $1,500 one.
Really?
It was, because it was just like, I did this, I pushed past those kind of two initial, I could have called them failures with spending all that money and taking that loan and getting no return, and then putting kind of the first slightly educated marketing out there and having that not work. When I did it again and it did work is when it really, really felt good. And I think the launch that actually just personally actually felt the best was, we had talked a little before about how I'm starting to bring other instructors in, and we did one with a woman named Wendy, and it was really big financially. It was over 6 figures, and but it wasn't the size of it, it was what it did for Wendy's life that was personally the most fulfilling. So for the people at home, let's back up a little bit, because Callie's has progressed so far that she's not just launching her own products, but now she's having other experts in her field, in the horse field. I don't know what you would even, what would you call it, the equestrian field? Or? Yeah, equestrian, horse training. Horse training.
Other experts, some of whom were your mentors.
Yeah.
And you're helping them bring prize. So are they actually coming in and shooting within Honeybrook stables? So you're producing the video, and they're now the front person, but it's all landing under your company. So you're helping them out. You're helping them get their work in the world, but you're also giving them a great big financial payday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the two people that I've done that in the biggest way with so far we're both personal mentors, and they're people that I have always considered to be the best at, what they do. But they've always struggled a little bit as far as in the business sense, which I think is common. A lot of people, when they have that skill and that's what they've put their life into, is perfecting that, and to take it into the business world is tough. So to be able to bring their knowledge and expertise to a bigger audience, to the audience that I'd built, and help both, the person I was partnering with as well as our customers. It was fun, it was fulfilling, it was one of the best experiences in business so far.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I imagine there's just a lot of people that they love horses, and they're good at it. But it's a competitive field, like so many other fields.
Yeah.
But the fields that people really love, I swam with dolphins once, and I'm like, this is the one thing I would give up. If I could just swim with dolphins all the time and be a trainer, I'd give everything up, because this is so amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm sure that's a competitive field too. Yeah. But would you put yourself in that boat of someone who, you didn't have the business skills, right? You were you figured it out.
Yeah, I did. I've always had a little bit of the entrepreneurial mindset. My first business was I sold caterpillars when I was a little kid for people that were going fishing.
Right.
So I've always wanted that, but I didn't have any kind of formal business training.
Yeah.
Very
cool.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. So before I forget, because I'm famous, where can people find more about you?
Yes. My website is crktrainingblog.com, and that's where everything comes out of there.
crktrainingblog.com. So for someone at home watching who's like, maybe they've got a skill, they have a market. You've been on an amazing journey, a years-long journey. You've now built this up. You have this amazing facility. You have a great business. You're doing these great launches. You're doing other things besides launches. You have a team. You've helped your mentors. You've got products that are both yours and beyond yours. You just keep on progressing each year. But a lot of people are just at home and they're like, how, can this online business stuff actually work? What would you say to them? What's been your biggest, or I'll leave it there. What would you say to them?
I would say just baby steps. Looking for just the next thing to do and doing that and building off of that. And also realizing that you don't have to learn and do every piece by yourself. We touched on building the team, and that was really big for me too, is realizing that I didn't have to become the video expert. I could get someone to help me with that. I didn't have to become even the best at social media. I could get someone to help me with that, and that really allowed the business to go in the different directions that it did.
Cool. And then one more question I brought up. You just mentioned social. And so you have an email list. We're up to 23,000.
Yep.
And also, like we were just talking on camera, off camera, that I know Instagram's got to be a great channel for this market. And Facebook, I know, is a great big channel for you.
Yep.
So you're building a following in Facebook. You're building a following in Insta.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're doing YouTube or not. You're doing YouTube as well.
That's actually been the biggest driver of the business since the beginning. Because when I say blogging, a lot of my start was basically video blogging. So just posting a video once a week.
Oh, cool.
And that built YouTube, and then most of our audience website views come from people bouncing off of YouTube.
Cool. And so, a lot of people, the question, how I feel about email. You've seen enough of my stuff, but a lot of people are like, email's so 2000, it's got to be social, it's got to be social. How do you feel about how all the social channels fit within your business and within your email list?
I have definitely done what you've taught in using the social channels to bring people to the email list. And I like doing it in that way. For me, the biggest reason is I have such close conversations with the people through email. So long before the sales process is even part of the picture, just they've started watching the videos, they end up on the email list through the website, and they send me emails that are so personal and heartfelt, and we end up creating such close relationships through that that I don't feel would be the same if we were doing that over a Facebook or a YouTube Messenger, any of those other platforms.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So wasn't Callie awesome? Scroll down, leave a comment, tell her what you think, and let's go get him this week.